I'm always experimenting with different things. I know how to paint, but it's art, and I don't want to be stuck in a routine, like you have to do 1, 2, 3, 4 procedures, 5, 6, whatever it is, and then you're done. This is what the clear looks like on. This is a black panel that's never been cleared, and as you can see, it's really bright. It's got some dust in it because I shouldn't have shot it in the wind. And here's another piece here that hasn't been touched. And these are real easy to run on them. Run right here in the corners with anything that you put on them, because you just tend to put too much in the corners. And I think they really turned out really good, except for the little pieces of spurge in there. So my next step is, and since it's nice and sunny out for once in this great little town they call a graveyard with lights, I decided to take some 1000 grit, and I already had this piece done and ready to go. And right here you can see where these little lumps are where the fish eyes came out. Now sometimes when you do fish eyes, if they're small enough, you can kind of let them dry if they're small enough. And if you recoat them once or twice after that, they will go away. That can happen. Here is this one nice panel I had to completely redo. All of the fins and everything down in the bottom here, I'm leaving them alone. And same with fins up here. This has a few pieces in it. It's also got a scratch that was right there, so I took half the scratch out, and on my next coat of dual coating of the clear, which will be the final clear, then I will sand that out. So with something like this, you want to get close to where you don't want to take it all the way down so there'll be a hole right here. You just want to get it nice and smooth, and maybe just take like half of it out so that the next coat will come in and cover that, and then you can take off a little bit more off of that coat and it'll all work out, but you're not taking a bunch of clear off. Now ideally I'd shoot this in a paint booth or at least a garage, but I don't have either one. So, well, I'm just going to have to wing it. And this piece, I was just about ready to polish it up, and I decided I'm going to take my 1000 grit and do it. Same with this other one. Now there's a lot of difference between sanding a clear coat to polish it and sanding a clear coat to repaint it. I would say personally that I would only use 1500 or 2000 grit on something I was going to polish, because you need to the surface has to have some bite in it. It has to have some grooves. It's like this stone right here in a different sense. When the paint gets on the surface, let's say it's a microscopic paint surface, it gets in and it grabs a hold of everything, okay? And in here and here, and it won't let go. But if your surface is too smooth and it's like glass, perfectly smooth like glass, well, you could take a piece of that paint and peel it right off, because that's what the scratches do. Scratches allow for the paint, it gives it something to hold on to. The paint sinks into those little tiny furrows and locks in there. That's why you can never do too much sanding, never do too good a job sanding when you're doing your preparation, because you don't know how long the paint will last down the road. Who knows? This paint may not work very good with this plastic. It may not. and the clear may not. But I can tell you this clear is head and shoulders about 500% better than the can stuff. And like I said before, I would really enjoy to use auto body quality paint, but I can't afford to go down and buy a quart of the paint and a hardener and the reducer for $80 to $100 and use it on one project. But now that I figured out this clear is going to work really well, and it took me 2 cups to do, or 400 milliliters. That's kind of a metric system. We don't use that here. I've never figured out the metric system. Never. I mean, it's probably a better system, but I mean, I know about as much as the metric system as I do about cricket. That's with these guys with these weird flat bats and funny looking pads on them. I mean, it looks interesting, but I have no idea how they play it. Or soccer or rugby. We just play NFL football here. Keeping it simple. What I'll do is I'll sand these where I want them, and I'll put them away. And they're already dry, but the paint underneath may not be dry. As dry as I want it to be. So I will just put them away until I get a warm, perfect day, and then I'll bring them all out. I'll set them all up on a table. I'll do a really good preparation setup where they can't blow away. Then the first thing I will do is take my detail gun and I will spray the backs of them, because this is very important for paint to stick. It's always good to take your sandpaper and go about a couple inches down all the way around, because this is the first place your paint is going to peel, is on the edges. Okay? And if you take that clear and you run it down here and run it here, just you get it. It's a good lock right there. You can see where I've got paint over to here and here. You can do the whole thing if you want, but it's always good to have a wraparound edge where the paint can stick, because with bikes out in the weather, you just don't know how much abuse they're going to take. So we'll figure out how well this urethane works, and maybe I'll even use the big gun next time. I don't think so, but it just puts out way too much volume. I'd just be I'd be using a howitzer shell to kill a mosquito. Okay.